Tanner dashes over to the child sitting across from him in the restaurant, knocking a few plates over on his way. He smelled the cooked flesh on the child's plate and shames him for his lack of guilt and humanity for consuming a dead animal, even though the child tried to explain that he hadn't eaten all day, and so he was happy to receive his rations for the day. Tanner wasn't about to let him finagle his way out of this one. After all, he had just gotten done hosting his Cow Lives Matter convention, and he's been on a mission to enlighten the barbaric masses, and so whenever he sees someone consuming some meat, he can't help but feel a sense of disgust and superiority. You think that just because people have evolved to eat meat over the course of millions of years that makes it okay? It's time to change the narrative, Tanner says while lecturing the crying child. When I first started my self-improvement journey, there was so much conflicting info on what a healthy diet actually was. You had people demonizing carbs because eating them raises your insulin levels. You had people demonizing fat because eating it supposedly clogs your arteries, and you had people demonizing protein because eating it is inhumane. And so it's like, what, I'm supposed to drink water and, start photosynthesizing like a fucking sunflower? All I wanted was to be diced and shredded so that my bros would look up to me and my hoes would bend the knee. So I started experimenting with all kinds of different diets, Atkins, paleo, keto, fucking juice cleanses. I even went vegetarian for a time being, and I found that they all worked, They all helped me to lose weight in the short term, but once I reverted back to my normal eating habits, of course I would just gain the weight right back. I knew that what I was doing wasn't really working in the long run, and so I needed to find, a more concrete, long-lasting approach, and that's when I started talking to Goggins. Goggins grew up in the elements far removed from modern society, and so he has a strong connection to nature and the natural world. He's used to hunting and foraging for his own food, and so he understands the effects that certain foods and plants have on his body. So when he decided to visit the so-called civilized world where all his domesticated brethren grew up, he was surprised to find out how detached everyone was from nature. They didn't understand the seasonality of food having anything they wanted during any time of the year in grocery stores. They couldn't tell when it was about to rain, having lived only in artificially lit homes. And they were so lost they argued over the most basic tenet of life itself: what to eat for optimal health. And rather than tuning into the ancient wisdom stored within their own bodies, they preferred to listen to the newest research that was bought and paid for by various companies to further their own agenda. So this got me thinking, what if there's so much conflicting info on what new diet I should try because I was just being subjected to another marketing campaign? And what if these new fad diets just had something to sell me, whether it be a new ideology, a new book, new supplements, and they just use this diet as a means to do so? I realize that, men lie and women lie, but your body is never going to lie to you. It's kind of like, if you're feeling some unusual back pain, you should probably get that shit checked out ASAP.
Joey, are you possessed? Oh my God.
And so rather than, listening to these so-called experts about, what I should consume for my own body, I just needed to connect to my intuitive side and start listening to what my own body was trying to tell me. And so once I became my own scientist, figuring out what foods I like to eat that also helped me get closer towards my goals, I was finally able to build a lifestyle that helped me keep the weight off for the long term. And so this is why I'm hostile towards the vegan ideology, because it's literally a product of modern society. For example, say you were out in the elements, left to fend for yourself, you haven't eaten in 30 days, you're on the verge of death, you've been starving, all you've had is some water, and you see a little baby piglet walk past you. Maybe it got left by its mother because maybe it's a little bit retarded. And so obviously it's easy prey out in the wild, it's survival of the fittest. So when you see this easy prey, are you going to be like, no, I can't eat that pig because I'm going to be an immoral human? You're going to be like, no, fuck that, I'm fucking hungry and I want some fucking bacon. And so because veganism is literally a product of modern society, by definition that means that, it's not a diet which is aligned with our evolutionary eating patterns. And so anyone that's fallen prey to the vegan ideology has, fallen prey to a whole bunch of lies, basically. One of those lies being that eating a vegan diet is actually healthy for you, when in fact not only are plant foods harder to digest for humans, but they contain a whole bunch of anti-nutrients that make them less nutritious for human consumption. You have to realize that while animals have teeth and claws to protect themselves against predation, plants are firmly rooted in the ground. Like imagine being like a celery stalk and you see this big ass predator coming up and you're like, fuck, I guess I'm dying today, like I can't do shit.
Oh, me skin! She's peeling me fucking skin! Fuck! Jesus, you fucking whore!
And so through evolution, plants have evolved to basically wage chemical warfare on these predators to prevent their extinction. You guys have been sold the lie that eating, a vegan diet is good for the environment, when in fact, growing crops can be just as destructive, if not more so, than tending to livestock. You guys have been sold the lie that eating a vegan diet will make you morally superior, since eating meat is supposedly immoral, when in fact killing is simply a way of life and there's no real way around it. And so, eating meat is not even eligible to be put under the microscope of morality, when consuming it is a fundamental tenet of human health and well-being. Across the globe, across all tribes, eating meat has always been prized because humans recognize the important life-giving and vitality imparting qualities that eating meat has. Whereas the only documented people that have eaten a vegetarian or even vegan diet were basically peasants. So to ask yourself, do I really want to be a fucking peasant? Alright guys, so I hope you liked that video. If so, drop a like, comment your thoughts. I want to know what you guys think. Subscribe, and if you want to check out my free Fasting Sage cookbook, it has like 10 recipes that are really going to make you be like, fuck that vegan bullshit, I'm trying to get swole. Link's going to be in the description, so check that out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video, and as always, keep dreaming while you're awake. Peace.
You ever wonder what it feels like when dreams bleed into real life? Seen scenes from TV get realized. Palm trees, a soft breeze and chilled ice till tides wash away our problems in the spilled wine.